And also, like, the thing is, the Vikings, from their standpoint, they're kind of in the mode of let's just reload for next season because they know how good they can be with Kirk Cousins. And the fact of the matter is, they sure had hope under Josh Dobbs, but now that he's flamed out and Nick Mullins, he has volume, but he throws way too many picks, especially crucial ones. So at this point, the Vikings really have nothing to lose other than play spoiler. So it's good they're giving this guy a chance finally for change.
Yeah, and not to mention, well, I mean, other than play spoiler, they're still alive. That's the thing. The NFC is that bad, so they still have something to play for with Jaron Hall. Oh, that's how I wanted to add.
I
No,
mean,
that's true.
yeah, they are alive, but at this point, like I think they're more accepting. They know how good they are with Kirk Cousins. I feel like they're probably gonna from the season. They're more likely to bring him back next year, and I think they should. He and Justin
Franchise. Maybe
Jefferson
they
fit
would,
pretty well.
but they should probably just
Absolutely.
franchise tag him.
Yeah. And I think he's honestly like happy to stay with them. Like he still supports the team. The team rallies around him. Like they have an identity with him. And
I mean,
I think they know. Yep.
their record with him the last 2 years is 17-8. So
Hmm.
there's no reason not to. In my opinion, if you're Kirk Cousins, there's no reason not to come back.
Yeah, that's totally
Absolutely.
true. And I'm definitely excited to see how Jacoby. I think unfortunately they play the Niners. That's not a good situation to walk into. I think the Niners are going to be pissed off. So to be honest, man, I don't know. Even if Jacoby Brissett does rough, it's going to be the pissed off Niners. That defense is going to wreak havoc. But you might as well. I thought Jacoby Brissett was really solid with the Browns. I'm happy he's finally getting some playing time. I did love Sam
Yeah.
Howell, obviously, but I think it's
Never.
also the right call to do, especially when you're eliminated.
Yeah, it is. I want to put that out about Sam Howell because I'm a big Sam Howell fan. I love Sam Howell. Uh, but
This guy's Madden
he's
franchises with
also a
him.
box score. Yeah, I just love Sam, but he is also a box score merchant, man. Like people, throughout the season were like, "Oh, this guy's leading the league in passing yards." But it's like, dude, the guy has like 55 pass attempts a game, and he has like the most attempts he had the most attempts in the NFL by a big margin. He still might be on that top list for that. But when you have 20 touchdowns to 18 picks, like at some point you got to wonder, like, maybe he's just a box score merchant, and he's not targeting Terry, and
Yeah,
Jahan Dotson.
no,
Those are two
bro.
receivers that if you're a good quarterback, you have to target, and you can't
Hmm.
just keep checking it down to Brian Robinson all the time. He's a running back, not a wide receiver. Like, yeah, they're useful to use out of the passing game, but still, I love Sam. I love Sam though. So
Hmm.
I like Sam Howell when he plays against the Giants. One touchdown. He's thrown one touchdown this year. I mean, he threw a lot of interceptions.
Commanders
It's been
are
a weird
truly a
season.
weird team. He can play like a top five QB versus the Eagles, but the Giants, when it's the Giants, oh, here's a team the Giants can own.
Yeah, no, we've owned them for so long.
yeah,
It's going to be interesting because both the Giants and the Commanders have a lot of holes that they need to fill this
that's true.
offseason. Definitely quarter. I think the Giants need to draft a quarterback, but that's just me. I like Daniel Jones, but I just think his time as the Giants quarterback is 5 years is a large enough sample size to say you're not cutting it.
Yeah,
But I'll always root for him. I'll
yeah,
always root
yeah,
for him.
yeah.
Back
Yeah,
on
that
Sam Howell though,
contract.
like he's not he hasn't been good, Sam Howell, but it's not all his fault. That offensive line is horrible. When you have Charles Leno as your left tackle, and I specifically point at Charles Leno because he's a former Bear and he sucked when he was with us. But when you have that offensive line, you're not gonna succeed well. He's the most sacked quarterback in the league. Some of it is his fault, but I would, if I'm a team out there, I could still give him a shot. Any team that needs a starting quarterback that wants to try. If you're like a bad team or something, I love Sam. I want him to succeed in this league, no matter where he's at, unless he's
I
in Green
think
Bay.
I
But
think honestly,
yeah,
right now you keep him as your quarterback. I feel like he's shown some really big flashes. I feel like the Commanders
He's like
hopefully
no,
will
yeah,
be willing to stick with him. I feel like, I mean,
I
yes,
hope they
he
stick
has
with.
his duds, but like he can throw a lot of passing yards. He also can throw a lot of touchdowns. If he just can turn down those turnovers and games where he just completely lays a goose egg, like especially the solid backup, I think honestly, like they're good to go. They just need to use Terry more in Eric Bieniemy's offense. But I think Eric Bieniemy has definitely elevated
Yeah.
him for sure. And Ron Rivera, we will probably do more stuff about coaches later, but Ron Rivera, low key's a guy we could see being let go after this season. Um, I
Oh,
feel
he's
like
definitely getting
with a
fired.
really
I
good
think he's
coach
definitely.
and maybe Bieniemy staying, because I'm pretty sure Bieniemy's deal's a multi-year, I think that team could really like be dangerous. Like they've had flashes. Their defense has had some talent. Their offense certainly does. They just need to use it more. So I feel like if you guys get a good head coach, Bieniemy involves Terry more, like that team could be pretty dangerous, honestly.
I mean, yes, that is true. But and I like Sam, but as I've said before, but like is he hasn't been targeting Terry, and I'm
That's
starting to
what,
wonder
yeah.
is Sam
That's why I said
that's the
like try to
thing,
give him another
man.
chance, like that
Need
to
to
throw
throw
the
to
ball. Yeah, they need to scheme him so he gets
yeah, and
not
again
more open, but
a
just
lot of
use
his
him
passing
more.
yards do come from those. That is true. That is true. But like again, like a lot of those passing yards, they do come from all those attempts that he has. Like he has like 50 attempts a game. So,
Hmm.
you know, but I'm not saying he's bad. I like him, but you know, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's not the guy for them.
Guy that should be, I think, considered a head coach, at least right now. Again, very short sample size of him, but Antonio Pierce for the Raiders. How about that guy, man? I mean, like the
Yeah,
defense has been
absolutely.
absolutely insane under him. He seems to be building a very good locker room culture. The team, they seem like they're celebrating wins. I don't think they should give up hope because if the Chiefs keep free falling and the Raiders go on a win streak, I'm actually picking them over the Colts this week. Um, if they keep doing what they're doing, especially their defense, I think they could go really toe to toe and potentially still have a playoff shot. They're not eliminated yet, right? I don't think they are, but
I think they're not,
Absolutely
but I
not.
think the problem with the Raiders is that they're a quarterback away, and
no,
they
yeah, for
want.
sure. For sure.
I think they need to keep Antonio Pierce, but the problem is that granted they were 3-5 when he was head coach. They killed the Giants. Then they
In his
beat the
first game.
Jets. Yeah, but I think they've won too many. Like Aiden O'Connell is definitely not the answer. So it's like you're in that limbo state where you're not you're not good enough to win the Super Bowl, but you're not awful enough to be picking a quarterback in the top 5.
Yeah.
So in a way, if they want to take a shot and maybe draft a player like Jaden Daniels or Drake May, they would have to
Trade up a
trade up
bit.
into the trade up
Yeah.
probably into like the top 5
Yeah,
because
but like their defense like has been on a tear lately. Jack Jones back-to-back pick sixes. I think their defense has scored 2 defensive touchdowns at least in the last 2 weeks. I mean, obviously they're better versus the Chargers, but they also got a fumble six and a pick six in the span of 14 seconds. Like their defense has had a really good spark. And obviously, you're right, they're a quarterback away. But honestly, if they keep running the table like this and the Chiefs keep losing, like they could give them a run for their money for even the division. I know it's a very small possibility. It's probably not going to happen. I totally acknowledge that. But like, it would be really wild if they somehow do. And I think regardless, like Pierce should seriously be considered as a head coach. Like he seems like he's given them a good culture and yeah, like they made the mistake of letting Rich Bisaccia go.
I
So I
wanted
feel
them
like
to
they should
keep him.
really evaluate and see. Plus, I feel like considering your head coaching options potentially, like I feel like the Bears are a much better team that could have a chance at landing a guy like the Lions OC than like the Raiders, for example. I'd say like run it back with him for a year, maybe get a new quarterback if you can, and just see how it goes. Like
Maybe
that's
Russell
just my
Wilson.
opinion. That's just my opinion. Oh, actually, wait. I actually have a crazy trade proposal. I was gonna share this. So Mal, I saw this on Instagram. It would be a trade with the Raiders to get for the number 1 overall pick. Would you I think this is frankly a good deal. You get Max Crosby you get Max Crosby, their first round pick, a first rounder next year. I think it's a second rounder this year and a third next year, or maybe it's switched, but I know you get a second and a third there. Would you
Dude, that's
take
Fleece
that deal?
2.0. Absolutely.
I
Fleece
Exactly.
2.0. We
Like,
just did
like
that to the Panthers.
I know, like it's another fleece, but I saw that and I was like I could see the Raiders being a team that go aggressive and move up to get like a Drake May or a Caleb Williams or a Jaden Daniels. I don't think they'll do this trade because honestly, the Bears would completely fleece them. Like, imagine getting Max Crosby,
Along
like
with Montez Sweat, dude, with
exactly. Like I
on the other
saw that.
side.
Like it's so one-sided, but like I could see the Raiders. My point is I could see the Raiders being one of those teams that makes a splash to get into that top five. Because like Bobby said, they really could use one of those QBs, Jaden Daniels too. Um, I hope for the Giants' sake they don't draft Drake May because I want Drake May to go to the Patriots or Giants so badly. I think the Patriots are looking at him, honestly, over Williams as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got to just worry about New England.
It's either
I
Caleb
mean,
Williams goes at 1 or he's just gonna free fall. I'm feeling like I think he's
Did you
gonna,
say free
in a
fall?
way,
Sorry, you
with like his
lagged.
personality, scare teams off. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
free fall in the draft. He's just gonna fall, I think. It's because like he's got such a big ego. I think
We
if
could say
he
Drake May being number one, like the number one QB off the list,
oh yeah, May could
honestly.
definitely go 1. But I think with Williams, like if he was to go to New York, I feel like he couldn't handle like
Oh,
as
the
a
New
Giants
York
fan,
media, dude. The New
absolutely.
York media is brutal, man.
He wouldn't
they've
handle the Bears for one day.
Oh yeah,
no
yeah. No,
like
no, Mal. We'll get into your thoughts on the Bears in a second.
if Evan Neal, who oh my, he has been so bad since we've drafted him. He's awful. I don't want to give up on the guy because there was a reason he was the second tackle taken off the board and people had him going number 1. But he's got
Wait,
to
my
like
bad. So I know you guys got the fifth and seventh pick. Where did you guys get one of those picks from? I'm just
we
actually
got
curious.
7 from the
Chicago.
Bears
Oh,
because
okay,
when we
right,
traded
right. I
because
forgot. I
because we
forgot.
were I think we were gonna take Devontae Smith because that's who I wanted us to take.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Eagles traded up. I was so angry. And then we traded back, got the Bears first round pick, took Kadarius Toney, who is a complete bozo, and he got ran out of New York. So then I was like Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau's had a good year this year, but the problem with Thibodeau is that he has flashes. Like he'll have a game like how he did against the Jets, best game of the year, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, but then he'll kind of have a game against the Saints where he'll have a 3% win rate. So it's like if he can like I mean there was a stretch this year where he had like I don't know, it was from like week 3 to week 8 where I think in all but one game he didn't have a sack. So if he can keep that momentum up, I think he's going to be a great player. But
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
consistency with these young guys.
If the Raiders or someone goes up to take the number one overall pick from the Bears, I could see the Raiders saying, screw it, get Caleb Williams. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like he could free fall. I've started to not become a fan of the guy either. I mean, um,
Yeah.
yeah, Mal fucking hates this guy. Like, he's a Bears fan, right? Who do you want, man? Marvin or a trade down, right?
I'll take either one. I'll take Marvin Harrison Jr. and number
Yeah.
1, or I'll trade down. If they take Caleb Williams, I'm obviously gonna root for him, but like I rise of right now, he's not in the Bears. So for right now, I really despise him. I can't stand him, and I think any team that drafts Caleb Williams is an idiot. I don't like him, and I think he's a future bust. I'm calling it right now. If the Bears take him, they will continue to prove why they are a stupid franchise and why they are the worst. Why they are
I
number
hope they keep
32
Fields.
in the league. Like Jesus, man. It also look. I know Fields. He has flashes, but he also has moments like where he can't get rid of the ball, and and he's had a lot of struggles here and there, but he's also progressed. I know that in the NFL you don't want little progression. You want like freaking leaps, like Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen and stuff like that. But I feel like he has improved a lot. People are a little maybe a little too impatient to see it, but let's get him a real offense. We got him DJ Moore. He's been better ever since he's gotten here. You got Cole Kmet, but then you really don't have anyone outside of that. You got a running game, but we don't have a center. Lucas Patrick is terrible. We don't have a guard. Well, besides Tevin Jenkins is great, but Nate Davis sucks. I don't know why we signed him. He's terrible. So let's get a right guard and let's get a left tackle. And if you can build this off, it like the foundation I want for this offense is I want it to be like a Lions or like a 49ers, which is it's going to be hard to reach the 49ers level. But if you can hire like Ben Johnson or Jim Harbaugh, that I prefer that, and just build a team around Fields, like not have to get a quarterback and just hope that they can just be a whole alpha dog and just carry the team. If you can build an offense, just a great team around Fields, you're gonna win games. And speaking of, this is why we need different coaching, is because we're chokers now. Like we're literally the Atlanta Falcons of the NFC North. Like we choked that
3
game versus the
games,
Broncos.
98%
We
chance of winning,
choked.
something
Yeah,
like
we
that.
choked versus the Lions. We choked versus the Browns. And all those games that we should have won, we'd be 9-6 right now instead of 6-9. So I'm just saying that the Bears, if you can build an offense around Fields and get the right coaching, you already have a good defense, they can make the playoffs next year.
Yeah. Soak
The
that in.
Giants
That's the same
offense,
record as the Chiefs right now, 9-6.
Yeah.
You would be
the
in the
Giants,
playoffs now.
Giants
What was that?
offensive line. The Giants offensive line is such a joke. It's so bad. Besides Andrew Thomas, it is terrible. Like I said before, Evan Neal is awful. And I would be honestly, I wouldn't be angry, but I would be in a way disappointed if they took a tackle in the draft, because we took Andrew Thomas, who's an incredible tackle, top, in my opinion, he's the best left tackle in football. If you factor in age and all those other factors, maybe you could say Tristan Wirfs, and I get that. Trent Williams, probably, but he's also 35.
He's older.
Left,
He's pretty much playing, trying to like Kelsey, trying to get a win, like trying to go all in, get one last ring, because truthfully they're contenders. Niners are
yeah,
contenders. Everyone thought the Eagles would be. Eagles are still a playoff team. Are they going to make
Yeah.
it to where they were last year? Probably not, unless they somehow click it back together. But yeah, I know how it feels, guys. I have been a Seattle fan. I have watched this team not get offensive line for years. But after the
we
Russ trade,
haven't.
we've finally been able to get rookie tackles in the 2021 draft with Charles Cross. And then we got Lucas, third round. He's been great. We got Evan Brown from the Lions. He has been our great starting center. We also got future centers. We've had Damian Lewis and other guys a lot at guard. I used to hate him because I think Damian Lewis or one of them got a lot of penalties in that Niners wildcard game last year. But they haven't been bad. I can't believe I'm saying this. Offensive line, in my opinion, is not our biggest concern compared to secondary right now. And it's
We've given up
disappointing
70.
because we have the most expensive safety room in the league, and they are the underperforming factor. Our D line and O line are surprisingly doing great. We have the most sacks in the NFC right now, which I couldn't even believe that until I saw that.
We've given up the most sacks. We've given up 76 sacks this year. Tommy DeVito's like the
Seattle
fifth.
kind of got sack inflation from that game against you guys. We sacked it 9 times, and I was like, I have
I
never
thought it was
seen that.
11. That game was terrible. Well,
I thought
not
it
for
was
you.
9-10, but maybe it was.
I thought it
I
was
think it was
11.
9, but maybe you're right. You remember
But
stats more than me.
the problem with us is with our team, it's like we kind of doubled down on Dave Gettleman's mistakes. I never wanted to give I wanted to franchise tag Daniel Jones and maybe cave and give Saquon Barkley a contract, but it doesn't hurt you as much in the long run when you give a
Yeah, that's
quarterback
fair.
all that money. But
Uh-huh.
I think I think you have to go either receiver or quarterback. I think I'm more towards quarterback, but I don't know. It's so tough with this team. If they were to take Bo Nix, I would probably break something. It's not that I don't think Bo Nix is that good. I have him probably like quarterback 5, probably late first round. But it's just it would be like taking Daniel Jones again.
That's
The only
fair.
3 quarterbacks I would be happy with are Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels, who I think Jaden Daniels is probably going to be the best in this draft class.
I
Maybe
see. I
Drake May,
mean, to
Jaden
be fair,
Daniels.
so you would put Williams at 3 there, right? And like May at 2, or how would you rank those 3 guys?
I'd put right now Jaden Daniels, Drake May, because I think Drake May does more with less than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has such a good team at USC around him compared to Drake May. Yeah, UNC is it's a good football program, but USC is a
Hmm.
historical powerhouse. So if you do more with less, like how May is doing, like everybody's saying he's kind of like Justin Herbert, and like the builds are similar for them and their play style. I mean, I would love Drake May to be a Giant. I just want a quarterback who's going to be good. I don't care
Yeah.
if because I'm so like ever since I really started watching the Giants, it was Eli Manning towards the end. Well, it's not the end, like the later part of his
His
career.
career.
Like like when I really started to care, like 2014. So I mean, I've been a fan my entire life. I've watched both. I mean, I was 2 when they won the first Super Bowl and 6. I hardly remember that one. But the best quarterback play I've seen was 2015 Eli Manning. We went 6-10 that year, and the defense I think was last or second to last. They were so bad, and I just want a quarterback who can just throw it all over the field. Granted, you're
Hmm.
not gonna always get that. I mean, what? Look at the 2021 draft class. That quarterback class kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
it's so
mean,
uncertain with quarterbacks.
yeah, that is very true. And like there's also a lot of pressure for them to perform out the gate. Like I feel like if the Bears keep Fields, like I think they should truly give him a chance. I think more and more people are starting to believe in Fields. Like because he has a deep arm and DJ Moore's having a career year with him. I feel like if you can just get new coaching, I don't think Eberflus is your long-term guy. If you can get especially Luke Getsy, their OC out of there, you guys
Yeah.
and get like someone like the Lions, I think, and if you get Marvin Harrison, like God, your offense is going to be deadly. And the greatest part
Oh yeah,
is
that
you can find weapons in the second round or something. If you don't get Marvin Harrison, I would not panic. I would say what you
Yeah.
do is get another
take
guy in the first round because you're probably going to trade that pick away if you don't want Harrison. I would say you guys have the most cap space. You guys could honestly make a splash for T. Higgins if you really wanted to
That's fair.
do.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you
Yeah. The
guys have
Bears
a
could trade
chance
back
at
to like
getting
5 and
2 really good weapons. Yeah, exactly. So like even if you don't get Harrison, like I wouldn't panic. Now I would rather you guys have him over the Cardinals. I would not like Marvin Harrison in the division, but
that's
because
fair.
they're definitely going to stick with Kyler, and Kyler with another weapon is going to be very annoying. But it
I
is what
don't
it
think
is.
he's ever had like a season where he's had a Pro Bowler on the offense. Granted, obviously DeAndre Hopkins has made the Pro Bowl, but I don't think he. No, he definitely would have made it as a Cardinal
Yeah, but like
2020.
the way, at least when Seattle played with him and D Hop on the same team, Hopkins obviously made some great catches, but like it wasn't always consistent. Like he didn't, I don't know how to say this, right? He was the wide receiver 1, but sometimes his production would be a bit quiet. Like he's not like an AJ Brown or someone like that. Harrison's projected to be someone like that, follow Garrett Wilson, all these
People are
guys.
saying like
If
people
he
are saying
like
like
I like
Calvin
getting
Johnson.
getting Marvin Harrison for the Cardinals is a receiver while maybe he doesn't have the catching ability right off the gate Hopkins has, but the production and force feeding he will get with catches will make him really insane, and it will be someone that Murray has never had before. So it's why I will find it a little annoying if the Cardinals draft him, but it will be a great pickup for them, and I hope he blooms pretty well. Ohio State's been a wide receiver factory recently. We've seen that.
I've been
Yeah.
seeing Commanders fans thinking that they're gonna get him, and I was like, "You're at, I
What
mean, you're
pick do
at
they have?
3 now. They're at
3?
3.
Oh, I mean,
I
maybe.
would be, I would be so angry if they got him because I've
Yeah.
had to deal with Terry McLaurin scorch the Giant. I've seen him scorch the Giants a few times, and see another. I mean, but it's also, oh damn, maybe we should have just lost out. because
Maybe. I mean,
probably
so the order right now is the Bears obviously have the number one pick. I
it.
think the
So
Pats have the second, right?
no, I think it's the Cardinals because the Cardinals are
Oh,
3 and
Cardinals.
12.
Okay, they still do. For some reason, I thought that
It's
the Patriots were still
I
at
remember
two.
this.
So when you
It's
said it, when you
Chicago,
said, yeah,
Chicago, Arizona, Washington, the Patriots, the Giants, and then I
okay, I
think
still
it's the
thought the Pats were at two
Chargers.
for some reason. Fair. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
We-
Yeah. All right. Moving on. That was a great stuff about the draft. I honestly might break that up into its own little video. And then that'll be a separate thing uploaded. Ravens throttled the 49ers. This seems to have a big effect on the MVP campaign, as this might pretty much say bye-bye to Brock Purdy's MVP campaign. So the top four guys, I think we can all agree. Two non-quarterbacks, Tyreek Hill, CMC. And the other quarterback guy is Lamar Jackson. And it used to be Brock Purdy. And I think if they have a bounce back, he should still be in that combo. But right now they're isolating the three. So who of those guys do you think should be?
Is Tyreek Hill when he was out week 15 against the Dolphins, I mean against the Jets, they put up 30 points, but it's like Tua wasn't that good before Tyreek came to Miami. And I
Yeah, he
still
can
like
be a big
this
scorer
is
for
this is
them.
this is not to discredit Tua. I just don't really think I think he works well in the Dolphin scheme. I don't want to call him a game manager, but he's a solid quarterback. Um, but I just don't know. Like I feel like I don't know if this year and it's like so tough to gauge how good Tua is without these great receivers. So I think you have to say Tyre, but it's like so close. You can't. I think it's Lamar Jackson. I think he makes such a big difference for the Ravens. But I mean, it's so hard.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
it is hard
You
because
want
I
to
feel
say
like
your
a
thoughts,
quarterback doesn't.
Mal?
I feel like it shouldn't be a quarterback to win it this year. Either CMC or Tyreek. Well, Tyreek being out for a game does not help. But honestly, man, like why not vote CMC? That guy's been he's been elite, man. And he's been everything that Brock Purdy's needed. So,
Hmm.
and that's not discrediting Brock Purdy. You know, Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, obviously, but you know, I don't know how good he is without all this entire offense that he has around him. Now, again, I'm not trying to discredit him. He's really really good because if not everyone can do what he's done for the 49ers. Like Jimmy G didn't play as good. If you watch him on film, he didn't play as good as Brock Purdy did when
9
he
and
was on the
7.
Niners. Yeah, and not just that, but like people say, well, if the 49ers had a good team around them and Brock Purdy got hurt, why did they not like compete with the Eagles? Because Josh Johnson isn't as good as Brock Purdy. And then even then, Josh Johnson got hurt. So then CMC had to play quarterback. So it's like, um, I don't know, but it's really hard. I think honestly CMC should win it from MVP order.
Yeah,
It's like
I
it's
am.
so tough.
I know. I totally agree. My bias is probably because I think this is one of the best years we've seen that a non QB could get it, and I think it's definitely possible because we have seen a down year in passing. Like I don't want to discredit Stroud. I don't want to discredit Sam Howell, but if we had passers like last year, they would not even be close to leading the league in passing yards. So I think there's just the it's fine. So I think there's just the there we've just seen like Lamar, for example, is the leading MVP. He has 3,357 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 picks. He definitely is a game difference maker, but I just think we've seen a down year from the quarterback passing position. I'd say why not give it to a different guy? I think my slight edge goes to CMC because he has 21 total touchdowns, 14 rushing, 7 receiving, and he's first in carries, first in yards. Does the O line help him and scheme help him? Absolutely, but I think it helps him a little more in the receiving game than the rushing game. CMC, when healthy, has really good change of direction. He has good vision. So I think that running part is in part due to him and maybe a good offensive line, but the passing is schemed because of Shanahan's really good explosive offense when you already have Kittle, Ayuk, who's really becoming a star, and Debo. So I think it should be CMC. That's again a little bit of a bias, but I just don't want to give it maybe necessarily to Lamar because I know MVP is a regular season award, but Lamar has not done much in the playoffs yet in
Yeah.
his career. Keyword yet. I really hate, I gotta say, the injury like stuff against him that haters use. I think that is
Last
really
year in
dumb because we've
2021.
seen how he is without an injury and the difference he makes. So he definitely is an MVP to his team, but I feel like if we're talking overall the league, I think CMC could get it. And also, Mahomes won MVP last year. He had 5,250 yards, 41 TDs, 12 INTs. I feel like if you want to give a quarterback that, I feel like you need to put it more on the Rodgers or Mahomes level of stats. So I just
That
think
is very true.
overall, if we go on recent trends, I just don't think Lamar necessarily matches up to the quarterbacks that he has passed. And Bobby mentioned this before the show. He is not near his 2019 MVP campaign. You know what I mean?
That is very true.
So
Yeah,
overall, I'm Team CMC. But if
and
Lamar
Yeah.
wins it, he makes a hell of a difference to the team. And I
I
do
mean,
like the guy for sure.
right now, there's only two players over 4,000 passing yards this year.
Brock
Which
Purdy
is
and someone else.
it's
Brock
Brock
Purdy,
Purdy
yeah,
and
for
Tua.
sure.
It's Brock Purdy and
Yeah,
Tua,
yeah.
and
Tua
I
also
think
gets help from his yak receivers because Hill and Waddle are just so amazing at that. I don't mean to discredit, but I feel like they help each other. They're complementary. I'm not necessarily dissing Tua though.
and Dak is leading in touchdown passes with 30.
Yeah, yeah, and he has CD, a
Dak's
great one
playing well.
too. But like,
It's
And
just funny
yeah,
Jalen,
how we haven't mentioned him.
yeah. No, Dak was originally my top one, but I feel like just the Cowboys as a whole have been getting a little downhill for
Yeah.
now. So, and they also base the MVP off the most successful team, which is why Lamar right now is in contention, and Purdy was too until that Ravens game. So
I think the only
Yeah.
way that
it's
Tyreek can
biased partially
truly,
due to your team, due to the team record. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to mention something. Offensive linemen do not get much recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Any 49ers fans just need to know that uh, when Trent Williams starts for them, they are 11-0, and when Trent Williams is hurt, they are 0-4. So he's
That's
pretty
fair.
valuable.
And I'm not discrediting saying that CMC does everything himself. I just think rushing, we've seen how he is. And now that he's not injured, I think the rushing talent is just something on his own that he can bring to the team. Yes, O-line helps, but I think the elevates him to the MVP is like just the Shanahan
Yeah.
system. But I still think he does a lot for that team. I mean, he's one of the best scorers in the league. I have him in fantasy. He is easily one of the best players because he's one of the best scorers. So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
thoughts.
I mean, and Brock,
Alrighty.
I mean, I've heard.
Yeah, you go.
I mean, people say Brock Purdy is a yak merchant, which in some instance, yeah, but he's also got. I think he leads the league in both passes of over 20 yards with 70, and then passes of over 40 yards with 14. So, I mean, granted, he's not going to win MVP, but I don't think he's. I've always thought he was decent. I mean, I don't think he's what people like call him like a complete game manager. I think he's a good quarterback, but you know,
Yeah. Not to mention that, if an unpopular fact is the fact that in order to get that yak, you need to put the ball in the right spot in order for receivers to get that
exactly.
yak. Now,
Yes,
now,
sir.
granted that's also because I was gonna mention Mahomes in the sense that he has absolute garbage receivers, but the Chiefs are actually one of the leaders in yards after catch. But that is the fact that Mahomes, is him, and Purdy has weapons compared to that. But still, we can't discredit Purdy completely.
Oh,
I just wouldn't
100%.
call him
Yeah.
an MVP though. I just
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
call him
yeah.
MVP though.
Also, like one example I think I saw was the Cardinals Niners game. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time where Purdy threw to a wide open CMC. It was a great route, but it was a little overthrown. CMC had to adjust, and he even fell, but was able to get back up because he had so much space. I'm not discrediting Purdy's accurate most of the time, but you also have those great guys who can adjust and catch. I think that's what Hill does too. I've seen a lot of routes that he has sometimes even run the wrong route himself, but he's just so fast and good at adjusting the ball because that's what better to the ball and catching it, and it's what wide receivers do, and that can overall lead to for example, getting a lot more yards and his stats being boosted, which is again what I say about complementary football. Veterans and speedy guys like that and weapons can help a quarterback, but Tua and Purdy also have great accuracy in the pocket. Purdy has amazing pocket presence, I gotta say. Yes, he had a rough day versus Baltimore, but I've seen him escape some really good plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
So, which makes him better than the average backup. I hate people saying that he's just a backup quarterback and anyone could do well. Yes, a lot of guys can, but Purdy showed that he's a starter for a reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So, summary of MVP: 2 people for CMC, 1 for Lamar. There's arguments for both, but those are our thoughts. Without further ado, we hope you guys enjoyed. And in the future, we'll have more people leading this. So I was leading this first one. Bobby and Mal will get to each plan an episode accordingly and lead with questions. So without further ado, this is the SU Gang, episode 1, and we hope to see you guys for more. Peace.